Hello, and welcome back to the Ask the Color Expert podcast. Today's special guest is Gary Gereau. He is in Jackson, Tennessee. He owns a cosmetology school that he started in 2023 called Thrive Beauty Institute. He has a salon called the Experience Salon, and he also has a podcast, GYMM Podcast. GYMM stands for Get Your Money Maine. So as you can see, this is a very busy man, and we're so blessed to have him here as a guest today on the podcast. Welcome, Gary.
Thank you so much, Miss Elaine, for having me. You know, this is like a dream come true, right?
Oh, you're so sweet. Well, we met in the funniest way ever because my voice sometimes stands out more than my face or anything else about me because it's so raspy. And my son and I were at the premiere Orlando show, and we were coming off the escalator, and Gary's like, wait a minute, I know that voice. I listened to your podcast, and it was so nice to meet you in person and get to know you. Those beautiful blue eyes of yours are stunning.
Thank you.
They're not easily forgotten. So I loved your story. I love how passionate you are about our industry. I love that you took the time out to go to the show with all of these things I just listed that you have going on. It's easy to settle in and say, I have a podcast, I have a school, I have a salon. What more could I possibly know?
Yeah.
And your posts, after I met you, of course, I started to follow you. And every one of your posts were so positive and so, you were so excited in every class that you were in as if you just stepped out of beauty school yourself. Yeah. And that's what we need more of in this industry. I am so grateful that you have a Cosmetology Institute. Mm-hmm. And as someone who's very passionate about the beginner hairstylist, I know how difficult that can be. So talk to me about the process of opening that school. I can only imagine what was involved in getting that started.
Oh, wow. Well, first of all, thank you again so much, Elaine, for having me. Again, this is such an honor to be here. But the process of the school was bananas. Okay. Can I just be honest and transparent? It was bananas. I think when I talk about it now, people are like, oh my gosh, congratulations. And I'm excited now. Thank God for it. But in the back of my head, I'm like, girl, God, you just don't know. But how it happened was, I actually really started to kind of get burnt out behind the chair. And I was getting burnt out behind the chair because, again, those who follow me, it looks like I'm doing 1,000 things. And I am doing 1,000 things, but I do them pretty well. I try to be consistent in those. But to make a long story short, there was an opportunity that was presented to me about opening up a school. I have a really great friend by the name of Destiny Cox, who opened up a...
I know Destiny. Yeah, we've talked about her shows. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a really, really great close friend of mine. And so she opened up a skincare school first instead of cosmetology. And I used to always travel and just help her teach and prep her classroom. And she was like, gee, I think you really should open up and consider opening up a cosmetology program. And I was like, I thought about it. But when she called me, she set me up, Elaine, because I had like a week to get everything together.
Oh, wow.
So I had a week to get everything together. But just to show you that when something is for you and it's all in the plan, why you was created in purpose, everything just started lining up. So just even with the paperwork, I knew the back end of it because I have worked at her school. I understood how everything worked, the classroom styles. I had my instructor's license, so I was certified there. I've always been teaching, but to actually step out and to really look at the paperwork and the requirements and this and that and the ins and outs, I was like an inventory. I'm like, I don't know if I'm really ready for this, but thank God for great friends. She motivated me. My family motivated me. And I just jumped out there, Elaine, in a week's time. And when I tell you that I had the school contract ready, read over thoroughly, I had the curriculum, I had the books, I had everything that I needed to present to the board of cosmetology here in Tennessee. And when I tell you that when I finally stepped into that boardroom meeting, they was like, go boy, because this stuff is together. So for me to have a week's time and to jump in it like that, and for them to approve me the first round was mind-blowing.
Unusual too.
Unusual.
Very unusual.
Yes, yes. So when that happened, I think I was maybe number 20 something. There was so many people in there at the same time to try to get approval to open up their schools. And I was actually seeing them turn around people and go through their curriculum and go through their contracts and tell them, hey, I need you to cross this T and dot this I, and then come back. And I'm sitting there watching everybody, and I'm saying, I know my paperwork is not right. There's no way. I only had a week's time and I'm new to this, but hey, I did it, Elaine. I did it.
I'm so glad you did, because honestly, I have gone back and forth so many times over the last 30 years.
Yeah.
I used to drive by this building in Pennsylvania that was 10 minutes from my salon.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it had the best parking. It was a beautiful building. And I thought this would be amazing for a very upscale, smaller beauty school. Nobody would get lost in the shuffle. Everybody would get attention. Like, I had all these high hopes. And to your point, the red tape and the government piece has always intimidated me. From opening my own salon where I had to get zoning. I remember being like ready to vomit the night before the zoning hearing. I was so nervous. I didn't know what to expect. And the paperwork and the organization of all those types of things, if you were to go through my personality traits, that is the worst part of my personality, is those kind of things. So I was like, then I would have to hire somebody that was really good at that stuff. Then I have a whole other staff and a lot more going on top of my salon. So I just kept talking myself out of it. And I've been blessed to find my jam in education, where I can educate and share with people who are already licensed, so that I don't have to fill out all that paperwork.
Yeah.
But without people like you that are not afraid of the government bureaucracy BS, there wouldn't be students coming to me that need further education. So I appreciate you for plugging along, because I know it is so not easy. And it infuriates me that it's made to be so hard. Yeah. It shouldn't be that hard, because the industry has shifted. Maybe 2 years ago, there was not enough. There was so many hairdressers and not enough jobs. Now there's so many jobs and not enough hairdressers, because I just heard on a podcast that children in middle school were interviewed and asked what they want to be when they grow up. And 75% of them said influencers. Wow. So who's going to go to a trade school or college or anywhere else if they think that they can put an outfit on and jump in front of a camera and make hundreds of thousands of dollars sharing what cupcake they had for lunch? So women are always going to need their hair done. Artificial intelligence is here. It's exciting. It's awesome, but it can't cut hair yet. Because they're 3D printing people's hands when they lose a hand. And I'm like, how does a hand come out of a printer? I don't know. But my goal and my dream would be to be able to be one of the first people to use those virtual reality headsets for virtual education. Because as much as I love seeing my students the way you and I are seeing each other right now over the computer, with a hands-on situation, a lot can get lost in translation. So for them to have those goggles on, I just picture them, be able to see what they're doing on the head and all of that. And it's coming. It's just a matter of the who and the how. So stay tuned for that. Tell me more about the podcast, Get Your Money Mane, because as a hairstylist, that's one of my other weaknesses. A friend had me on her coaching call yesterday, and she had an investment advisor on there. And I literally kind of fold up in myself when people talk about, SEP IRA versus 401k versus, a life insurance policy, and whether it's term or a savings. It's something that I have avoided my entire career. And I know I'm not alone. So talk to me about your money podcast and share your wisdom with hairstylists that may be listening.
Yes, most definitely. So Get Your Money Mane is and it's spelled like gem, because we're actually dropping gems. And I created this for hairstylists and entrepreneurs, where I want to create a space to tell the truth about every week is not busy. how do I maneuver through weeks where the weeks are not busy, or how do I budget my money a little bit more on slow days? How can I get more creative outside of just coming to work doing the same old method and strategy every day and every week? And so for those who are looking for a strategy to execute, to wake up that passion again, and to just get around and hear testimonies and like-minded stories that people go through every day, because social media makes it look like that everybody, like, I really woke up like this. Like, I did not wake up like this. Like, no, my breath stinks like everybody else. My hair needs to be combed and shaved like everybody else. And social media has made everything looks like that there is such an overnight success, and that there is no process, and everybody is selling courses and how to get 100 mil in 30 days. And I think those things get frustrating to the individuals who are actually getting up every day, grinding and being authentic to their brand and their business. And we just need a space where we can be like, hey, is this really happening? You know, can this really be done? Yes, it can be done with process, with strategy, executing, building up your faith, being around other passionate people, hearing other people's testimonies. So I created Get Your Money Made. It's bigger than money. It's really about purpose. It's about the reason why you exist, the reason why your business exists, the reason why you're in partnership. So it's really keeping the main thing the main thing. And while we're doing that, we will see our businesses and our minds and our passion evolve and grow. So it's not about lights, camera, action, even though we would love to have that every day. But no, we have to come to the facts that, no, I have to go to work. I have to wait on clients. I have to still market myself. I have to still brand myself. And everybody's not called, you know, to do Jennifer Hudson's hair, and everybody's not called to, you know, walk on the red carpet every weekend. So those of us who love what we do, there's a blessing still tied to it. There are still faithful customers, and our everyday clients, our everyday customers are our celebrities. And so we just have to really change our mindset to know who we are and what we've been called to do.
I love that. And to that point, one of our stylists in our Pennsylvania salon just celebrated 25 years with one of her clients.
Wow.
And her client was the one that pointed it out to her. She showed up at the salon with balloons and all kinds of treats for her, and a beautiful Lagos necklace, and hugged her and said, you know, we've been together 25 years and you've been so amazing. And I was like, wow, that's the real reward. When your client really appreciates the relationship that you have with them. It's such a rare thing, especially to your point about social media. This same stylist received one of the best of awards in our area, and it was a big deal. They have a big party and you're in the magazine and all the things. And while it was amazing, the unfortunate part was that all these new people flooded our salon because they wanted to know who the hot new superstar was. And the people like Susan, who just celebrated 25 years with her, all of a sudden couldn't get in with her because she was so slammed with all the new people. And they're jumpers. You know, a year later, they're going to who wins next year, and they're going to who wins the following year. They're not loyal. So you have to be careful what you wish for. You know, I have a friend who's in real estate, and she's always like, I just want to get in that magazine. And I'm like, you know what? I was the same way. And I always wanted to be in a hair magazine. And I've been in several hair magazines. And guess what? It didn't make any difference in my bottom. I didn't make a single dime more than I would have if I wasn't in the magazine. It was nothing but ego. And it's wonderful. And I love magazines. But that's 100% ego. I'm like, and I walk her through it. I say, because I'm also a life coach, I kind of sneak that into my hair color coaching because, to your point, that's usually more important than the actual technique itself. And she'll say something to me and I'll say, ego. She'll say something, no. And she'll defend it. I'll say, ego. What do you mean? I'm like, it's all vanity metrics. You know, she'll talk about like, I got 2,000 likes on my post because I wore a short skirt and my legs looked good. I'm like, and did they buy a house from you because of that? Well, no, but I'm like, ego.
Correct.
And back to the ego.
Yes, correct.
So you gotta keep yourself in line.
That's so true. And I think when ego robs us from the real thing, we become frustrated. Now we have an attitude with the clients. We have an attitude with the business. We don't want to go to work. It just sucks the life out of our passion, because we're wrapped around a world that you have to be on a billboard or you have to be in a magazine to be recognized. And that's not true. And there are loyal people who just love you for being you, and people will pay for whatever you're asking for. You don't need to be on Naha stage, which we love it. Shout out to Naha. We love y'all. But that doesn't define, my skill set and who I am as an individual.
Absolutely. Some of the most financially successful hairstylists that I've known in my career, nobody has heard of them. Yeah. They do not even go on social media. I have a coach that I work with who makes millions and millions of dollars. He doesn't even have a Facebook account or an Instagram account, or he has nothing but LinkedIn because he's all about the business. And he doesn't even post on LinkedIn. He said he does it just to show that he's alive and that he's somewhere. But, it's like this. I know when it started, I had a flip phone, we're going back many years, and I was digging in. I was like, you know what? I keep seeing all these lives being ruined by people on their phones out to dinner. Like, I don't want to be able to go on the internet from my phone. I don't want to be on social. I just want my kids to be able to tell me they got home from school okay, and that, I can make a phone call in an emergency situation. Now, the other day, my phone, I woke up and I always just tap the screen to see what time it is.
Yeah. And
the screen was black. And I knew I charged it. So I'm like, I know the battery's not dead. So then I'm pushing the power button, nothing, black. So I'm getting ready to go to Europe alone on a trip. And I had this total sense of sheer panic of, I have to go get a new phone. I cannot go to Europe without that phone. Right. Because when I was there last year with my son, everything that we did, from walking directions to what train station, what train number, the train ticket, the flight, everything was on that phone.
Yeah.
And I've caught myself recently. I heard about a phenomenon. I want to say it was on the Mel Robbins podcast. They call it popcorn brain. We all have popcorn brain because any minute that we're not totally, completely occupied, we're checking. And it's literally, have you ever looked in your phone where it tells you how long you've been on your phone?
That's true. Yes.
Right now.
Yes.
It's disgusting. Mine is always like over 6 hours or something a day. And
Mine's too. And it's ridiculous. And time has gone by so fast where, it's like, wait a minute, 18 hours.
6 hours and 29 minutes is my daily average. 6 hours.
Mine is usually the same
time.
Yeah.
Like, think about the small window of time that we're actually awake and functioning. And I spent 6 of my hours on this thing doing what?
Yeah.
Scrolling. It's crazy, but it's so addicting because you keep thinking that you're going to miss a text from somebody. You're going to miss a phone call. And so what? What did we do before when we missed a phone call? They called you back.
That's true. And we used to remember everybody's phone number.
Yeah. I don't even know my kids by heart.
Yeah, by heart. Mom, auntie, uncles, kids, everybody. Now it's like, hold on, I got to go look for the number because I don't know it. We're spoiled.
Now, how do you keep the attention of your students and keep that from coming into the classroom? I can only imagine how difficult that is these days.
So it is, especially over certain chapters that can be really so boring with the theory. So what I do is, if I come across a chapter that I feel like that's too long, we open up class where I teach Zumba. I can teach Zumba. So we may dance a little bit before class.
I love Zumba.
Yeah.
That's so fun. I love when you do that.
Yes. So Zumba is fun. So Zumba always breaks the ice. Any type of line dance breaks the ice. We do some type of game. So I really try to keep everything high energy on digital.
That's amazing.
If not, it's like Charlie Brown. Womp,
womp.
So the moment that I feel like that the tone of the room has just went down, I just know to get in there and shift it. with a song. Let's take a break. Let's listen to you all's favorite song. What song is motivating to you all today? Let's listen to that. Let's listen to the lyrics. We'll stop and pop up lyrics of somebody, and read the lyrics out and just see how it, makes us inspiring, just to give us some more juice in life for that day. Because being virtual can be, a little laxy-daisy, especially if you have a student that's at home. But I make sure that their hair is combed, earrings are on, uniform top is on, standing in front of the camera. So I try to scare them and tell them that state will pop in at any moment.
So you're doing all of your theory virtually, and then the in-person is the technical side of things?
Yes.
I love that.
Yes. So we do that. And so I just try my best to really be creative and just keep them on their P's and Q's on energy level and keeping them aware and engaged.
So how much of the instruction do you personally do, and how much do you have other instructors in your school?
So certain part of the theory, like nails or makeup, different things of that nature, there are certain chapters I will hire others educators to come in and teach that, which I love, because I don't want them to kind of just I don't want to sound like Charlie Brown to them too as well.
Right.
So me bringing in guests, they really love that. And then too, it just kind of just helps brand the school too a little bit more. So I just love having, and they love that too. Love that as well. So we just bring in other people. I just bring them in. Hey, can you come in for 2 weeks? What's your rate? And hopefully we can afford you. And some of the educators, they just love to come and give back, and some just say, hey, however you bless me, we'll take it. But I thank God I have had people who have been willing to just kind of donate time, if it's 2 days or an hour, or they may send some pre-recorded videos, of different things. So there's a way that we actually make it happen. We make it happen.
That's awesome, because a lot of salons right now there's so much disruption right now in our industry as far as commission, booth rent, solo suites, everything is getting blurred.
Yeah.
And owners of traditional commission salons are starving for new talent.
Yes.
However, to your point, it would never enter their mind to volunteer at a local school. When I was in my salon, behind the chair and running the salon and all the things, I reached out to beauty schools constantly. I have to say, I'm sorry to say, it was not well received.
I believe it.
I was so shocked by that, Gary. I was like, why would you not want someone with over 30 years experience that wants to come and share with your group?
Yeah.
Then I finally had one say yes. And when I went into the school and I taught how I teach, it was so completely opposite of their curriculum and the way that they teach.
Yes.
And that was the issue. I was like, now I get it. They don't want, number one, I would never want to confuse the students. So I would never intentionally teach the opposite way. But I think that's what it was. And then when I was still behind the chair, I was like, oh my gosh, I love to travel. I love to teach. How can I get in front of more people?
Yeah.
I'm going to do a book tour with my book. I'm going to show up in different beauty schools, give everybody the book, and share a chapter or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
I literally called a school in every state and I got one yes.
Oh, wow.
One yes.
Wow. That's sad though. And I think that's one reason I jumped into education as well, is because I realized that there were a lot of educators who really could not educate, and they couldn't keep up with the times. Or maybe they could educate, they were just outdated.
Outdated, yeah.
They could educate, they were just outdated. And a lot of times, somebody like Elaine coming to the school or Gary G coming to a school, and you don't technically really work there, they're going to feel like, okay, who's going to help keep up this updated information that they're bringing into the doors, So I can see them, being a little funny acting with that. But I really think it's sad that now there are a lot of outdated educators in our school systems.
I know at my school, the issue was when someone graduated the cosmetology hours, the school would pick the people that they thought would be good with the teaching program, and they would scholarship them. the teachers program and say, if you want to stick around, we'd love to, you know, have you get this next, you know, certification, whatever. And then those people stayed and became teachers at the school. So they never worked in a salon. They never used any of the textbook information in a real setting on a real human, other than with us, you know, the little old ladies were like, you know, 87 up with their oxygen tanks coming from their touch-ups. They weren't really a good practice for someone behind the chair. So it just, the insanity just kept going, because then that teacher taught another person how to do their teachers, and then they stayed and did the same thing. And I remember doing the biggest honor for me, one of the biggest honors in my career, was that one of my teachers came to me for her color. And I thought that was so cool. Yeah. That she would pick me and that she could have gone anywhere. And then when I started talking to her, I was like, she never understood color.
Yeah, I understood color.
Not even a little bit. Like she was asking me questions and I was like, wow. Yeah. I had not gone on and found the information myself after finishing school. Yeah. I would not be a colorist today. Yeah. And I think, and I hope that it's not happening in your school, but I think that a lot of people get so overwhelmed with, when you think about the amount of information we have to learn in that short period of time. I get that school can't prepare you for everything. No. But I think sometimes the not knowing and not understanding is leading to complete and total avoidance. And I can't tell you how many times I see people say, I'm just going to go work at a chain salon and learn how to become a really fast cutter. Yeah. Because they're always going to hand me clients and they're getting paid hourly at a national chain. And that's great. If you love to cut hair and you don't want to do color, that's great. But if it's because you're hiding and you're nervous and you don't understand, find out. There's so much information out there.
Yeah, so much more. And I just really think, and I think that's why I was so excited just even being at Premiere, is because I've just seen other stylists just as happy as I was. And I think with our industry, we have to get our passion back. We have to get our love back. We have to find out what's going to get our juices back flowing, you know, because that's how this industry is going to survive. It's going to survive off of our passion. You know, so I just think once we get back to that place, we're going to see a 180, not a 360, but a 180.
Do you think your students will ever experience what you and I have experienced in past hair events? Do you think that energy is ever going to come back?
I believe so. I believe so.
Describe the perfect beauty event to me right now.
The perfect,
from coming off of Premiere and from having a school. Describe the perfect in-person event that could really get everybody's juices flowing.
First of all, I'm a high energy person. So the energy level of the whole event has got to be through the roof. I love music. I love to dance. So we're going to start with there. So that goes with environment, creating a space. The environment has to be on 1,000. Okay. Secondly, having multiple choices of education. I can go sit in a classroom all day from the time that they open up the door to the time they start cutting the lights off and saying, listen, if you didn't get it today, come back tomorrow. Education is the biggest thing with me. Not just going to the show floor. And I love the show floor because down there I can get all my samples and I can take all my selfies and stuff and run into people. But the education, being able to always be a student, and I can become a student, and I'm listening to educators who know what they're talking about. Like, this is nothing you just hurried up and Googled because you just so happened to get the job, but I can tell that you live this or you really had an experience with this. And there's something about sitting in front of an educator who has experience. So I think when the education level is through the roof, that's amazing. The environment is conducive for everybody to come and relax and just meet new people and just being in a different environment that's going to, you know what this show did for me as well, Elaine? I came back home and said, you know what? I'm going to take this out of my school. I'm going to add this. When I go and teach next time, I'm going to take this out and add this. So I saw the evolving. I saw the next level. I saw what what would challenge me to as well. So I took all of those things into consideration and said, you know what, if I want to be a better version of Gary, or my school to be a better version, I need to apply all of this. So the perfect show is having that environment, the energy level, having people excited, and having the great education team, having a great education team.
I love that. When we were in the hallways going to our class that we were teaching, it was totally quiet, dead, not any people in the classrooms. And when I went down on the show floor, it's like everybody's hitting you with their bags, with their wheelie things, with all their products. And I'm thinking, I think over 50% of the show floor doesn't even know or care that there's education classes here. They had so many great choices. I was so overwhelmed because most of the things that I wanted to see and sit in on were at the same time as I was providing education. And that's frustrating for me because I'm there just as much to learn as to share. And I was like, oh, I wish that, you know, I could really plot it out ahead of time and choose my time to teach so that I could, because at one point I was like, oh crap, I was up against Tracy Cunningham. I'm like, nobody's coming to see me if Tracy Cunningham's at the same time. That's J-Lo, for God's sake. So like, that's hard too. But to be, you know, there was lines around certain classes and then other classes were totally empty and they were amazing educators that, again, it goes back to maybe they're not just as strong on social media. Myself included, I don't have 1 million followers on social media. So for me, it's like sometimes just luck that someone wanders into my classroom. And then once they're there, they're like, oh my gosh, you know, I want to follow you. I want to come to your coffee chats. Like it goes from there. But sometimes it's total luck and coincidence to even get them there. So yeah, it's a lot. The world is moving really quickly and everything is a lot. And I think I really do see a return back to the way that things used to be pre-pandemic. I think people realize how important those in-person, I mean, just stopping and chatting with you and meeting other people that I never met. You know, you and I may have never met in any other way unless we were both at that show. I love your suit for Naha, by the way.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I forgot all about it, and then the tickets were sold out, so I didn't get to go to Naha.
Oh, wow. I wish I've known that because we had extra tickets. So that would have been amazing. I think I got 100 stops about that suit. I was like, oh my God.
That's awesome. My son went to his prom in a Pac-Man suit. It was a little Pac-Man. It was all black and had Pac-Man all over it. It was
wow.
Awesome.
I know that's dope. I would love to see that. I know that's dope. Yeah.
I'll send you the picture.
Yeah.
It came up on my memory. I love when Facebook shares your memories. I was like, oh, I love that suit. Actually, it came up when we were at premiere.
Oh,
because it must have been that same date that he was going to the prom or whatever. Well, listen, I could talk to you forever. You are amazing. I love what you're doing. Zumba in beauty school, pinch me. I want to go back Zumba before class. I love that. So tell people how they can find you, follow you, go to your beauty school, all the things.
Yes, most definitely. So those of you that are listening, please follow me and go and check me out on Instagram. It is Gereau, Gary, Gereau. Gary is Gary Gereau backwards. Facebook, it is Gary Gereau. And also on Instagram with the school, it is Thrive Beauty Institute.
Awesome. If I ever get back to Tennessee, that will be my first stop.
First stop.
I would love to come and do Zumba with your students.
Yes.
You're awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad that we had time to get together. And for everybody listening, thank you for being here. And we will see you on the next one.